In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create this transparent menu in WordPress with Elementor, but this is not just a normal menu, this is a smart menu, because look what happens. We have 3 menu items over here and then a sign up button, but if we go and make it smaller, we go to tablet mode, the button is still visible, which is what you want because there's enough space, but then once you go to mobile, the button disappears, but it shows up in here. That is not really an easy thing to do. We need a little trick to make that happen, and I made it happen in the old menu widget and the new one. So here you can see the original WordPress menu, which we are used to in Elementor. It also works in this one, and like I said, the new menu widget from Elementor. So I'm pretty excited to show you this because in the past, this was not really easy to do. You had to create double menus and then hide elements. Right now, it's just one widget. Very easy to do. By the way, this is a follow-up for this video that I made earlier. In this video, we transformed this Figma design into an Elementor website, but I just used the free version for the page, but the free version doesn't have the menu builder over here. So I'm now going to install the pro version of Elementor to make sure we can make a menu. And by the way, if you're still on the free version and after this video you're interested in Elementor Pro, then you can go to this page, livingwithpixels.com/Elementor, and I have put all of the information that I think is relevant for beginners on this page. And if you use this page to make a purchase for Elementor Pro, then I get a commission. So thanks a lot because that supports my channel. Okay, with Elementor and Elementor Pro installed, we can get started with step number 1, which is setting up the width. Normally, when you want to create a header in Elementor, you go to templates and you go to theme builder over here, and then you click on a header template over here. But right now we are creating a transparent menu. And when you do that in a header template, you don't really see the menu because it's transparent. It's a little bit of an annoying workflow. So when I create a transparent header, I just like to design the header on a normal page and then later transport it to the header template, and then it's saved throughout the whole website. So you don't even have to go to the theme builder over here. Just go to the page and then open it with Elementor. If you have followed to the previous video, then you are also here at this point and you can just continue with this tutorial. But if not, then just open one of your pages. Okay, so you want to create a new container. I'm going to click on the plus, and on the plus again, we're going to use Flexbox. And a menu is always horizontal. So click on the horizontal option, and then you first want to drag in some widgets so you can see the edges over here. First thing I always do is just the image widget. You can just drag it in right here. I know there's also a site logo widget, which you can also use, but for the header, I just used an image. Then make sure to select a logo. And let's just first work with the new menu widget from Elementor. Oh, it's not here. That is because you have to activate it. It's still a relatively new feature, so you have to go back to WordPress. If you hold Command or Control on this button, it will open it in a new tab. Then you can go over here, Elementor, Settings, then Features, and then you can hit Command F or Control F to search for menu, because I'm lazy. And then here it is. Make sure this one is on active. Oh, we first need to also make sure Flexbox container and nested elements are also on active. So make sure that nested elements is on active, and then we can also put the menu on active because the Flexbox container is already on active. Now we save this, we go back to our page. Let's refresh it, but first I'm going to save the draft, otherwise I'm going to lose my progress. And then I'm going to click Command or Control R. Yes, reload. And now the new menu item should be here. Is it here? Yes, it's here. Okay, let's drag in that menu widget. If you find this hard to do, then you can also open the layers panel over here. And then it's this layer, that's our header. Let's just call it header so we make things easy. And here we can see our image. So let's just drag in our menu widget right now. And if it doesn't work, just drag it in somewhere. And then you can adjust the position in here to make sure it's on the right. So now we have a logo on the left and this one on the right. So now we have 2 items in our menu, but this one is still completely on the left. So I want to make sure that that one is on the right so we can see how wide our menu is. I think that's the first thing you need to set up. That's why this is step 1. So I'm just dragging in these widgets to see how wide the menu is. So now you can click on the whole container and then you can decide here if you want it to be boxed or maybe full width. Then the logo will be pushed all the way to the left and your items will be to the right. That is a little bit too much. So you can then also choose to, for example, put it on 95% or maybe 90% so that there's still some space on the left and on the right. I say this because not every website has a menu that is the same width as the website. So here in this design, that is the case, right? But what many websites have is more of a menu like this. That can be because they have more menu items, or they just like it that it breaks up the design a little bit instead of keeping everything inside of the box. So that's just a thing I wanted to say. You can also put it at full width and then 90%. And if you want to have an exact pixel value here, then you should put this at 100% and then work with padding left and right. But I don't like to use that anymore. So using percentages is fine in this situation. But for this design, I wanted to keep it within the main grid, within the main box. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna leave it at boxed. Okay, now we're done with the setup. Let's go to step 2. In this step, we're gonna set up the styling, because right now it's still white. It's not transparent in any way. It doesn't have the perfect height. So let's adjust it a little bit. Click on the container and now I want to use minimum height. For normal containers on a website, I don't use minimum height because then I want to keep some space on the top and on the bottom. But for this one, I want to use a specific value because we need that for that transparency. Let me show you what I mean. So for example, if you put this minimum height at 100 pixels, then you will see that the menu is a little bit taller, and then you can put the items in the middle by using the align items feature over here. As you can see, perfect. And now we can click on this container, go to advanced, and now here's the trick to make it transparent. Unlink the margin, and then over here you want to make sure that you drag that bottom to the negative. You can click and drag if you want to, so then you can already see what's happening, but you can also hold command and then it will go in values by 10. We needed exactly 100 pixels, but now the menu is gone. Why is that? Well, that is because there are also layers in development, which we call Z-index for some reason. So these are the layers in Elementor, but it doesn't always define what is on top. This actually defines what is on top. Well, I should say the Z-index overrules what we see over here. If this doesn't work, then you go to Z-index and then, for example, you say this should be a higher layer. So the background container is, let's say 1 or 0. So this should be, let's just be safe, 9. And now it's on top. We only see the logo because our text is simply black. So let's also change that. We're gonna go to style, give it some color. I'm gonna use the secondary one. And there we go. That already looks good. Now I want to change the typography a little bit. The font that we're using for this project for the titles is Saira condensed. Let's just make it a little bigger. 18. Let's make it bold, uppercase, and boom. There we go. That looks a lot like our design. Let's now go back to content and just add in our pages over here. We're gonna do home, which we're gonna link to home. Let's just create some dummy links over here. Okay, so home, about, and lessons are now in here. Oh, that blue is horrible. Now let's change that blue by going to style, normal, and then active. The blue was the default on the website. So now that is better. And the hover is still too dark. So I also want to change the hover to something else. You can also do red if you want. Actually, I don't know if I like this red over here. I'm just going to keep it as white and then just going to give it a border at the bottom so that we have a little indicator that something is happening. So if you select solid over here and then unlink this and then only add 1 pixel at the bottom, then we get a little underline. This is very thin, way too thin. So let's just add a little bit more. Let's put it at 2 and then it should look a little bit better. Let's add the button in there and let's see if our styling then still works. So I'm gonna search for button, I'm gonna drag it in there and then I'm gonna make sure it's after the menu. Again, if you don't see this menu, click on the layers panel over here. And now it's already perfect. That looks great. Let's check how it looks on a tablet for now. That also doesn't look that bad, but our menu disappeared somehow. So we need to make sure the colors are how we want it. In this new menu widget, you have to find it over here. So it's called menu toggle, and then you can change the color over here, and now it displays again. It's very wide by default, the whole widget. So you also need to align it. That can be done in the content tab and then in the menu toggle. So yeah, you can put it at the end, but then it's impossible to click. So that's a little bit annoying because then your indicator is on top of it. So when I'm editing, I'm just keeping it like this. And then when I'm done, I'm just putting it at the end. Okay, we also cannot see our menu items. So let's go to styling, and then let's go to the content or drop down menu. It's always so hard to find. I think it's the drop down menu. Yes, okay, let's change the text color to just simply black. And then the active one should also be black because that one is now white. Okay, we have 3 of the items over here, but why is it on the right? Did I ask for that? I don't think so. Let's go back, and item position on the left. Editing this menu widget from Elementor is not the easiest thing to do. I want to show you 2 things that I think you should know. The first of all is that you can create some distance between this and the menu by going to style and then going to menu toggle. And then here is the distance from the drop down. You always want to put that a little bit down so your menu can breathe a little bit. It doesn't have to be pixel perfect, but this looks good. And then if you want to change the space between the menu items and the side, then you need to go back up to menu items. And then over here you have padding. So this padding is what you can play with. So for example, if you put it on 50, then this happens. So you can use this with percentages. So if you put it on percentages, then unlink it, make sure the menu is open. And then on the left, for example, you put 10%, because our box container on tablet is 80% in width. So 10% on the left, 10% on the right. That should do the job. And then you can also add a little bit of percentages on the top and on the bottom to make sure it looks okay. All right, let's also check the mobile version to also make sure that looks okay. But here it looks a little different. Let's close the menu, and that is because our button is still here. So if you go to advanced, then you go down, then you go to responsive, and then you click on hide on mobile portrait, and you still cannot see anything. But if you close this panel, then you will see that it is actually middle aligned, so it does work. You can also test it like this. The menu looks fine to me. The only thing is that the padding is different, so we need to change the padding again by going over here and then changing the percentages. So how do we know what percentage we need on mobile? Well, that depends on your box container settings. So let's save our draft quickly and then go to our site settings to see what we set up in the layout settings. We can see 90% over here for mobile. So now we can go back, go to our menu item again. And then over here, we're going to unlink this again, put 5% on the left and 5% on the right, so that it works a little bit on the top and on the bottom. And that works fine. So this ensures that once we transport it to the header template, that it looks good on the whole website. Okay, so let's test it quickly, how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. So now our design is done. So don't forget to put your menu item on the right. Remember, oh, sorry, not this one. We need to go to menu toggle and then put this one on the right so that it's boxed and right in the corner, and also do that on your tablet device like that. Okay, so in step 3, we're gonna hide the button. So let's say that this is a button, an important sign up button for your website, but right now it doesn't show on mobile because we only see 3 pages over here. We already made sure it's not visible on mobile, which is good, but now we need that menu item again. So the trick is to add a menu item and then only hide it on desktop. So let's just add that menu item over here. I'm just going to add a new item and just also call it sign up. It will be the exact same link. So whatever page or sign up form you use, doesn't matter. You can link it to any page you want. And now we see the sign up button over here. Perfect. And we need to put in a little CSS ID. But I've made it easy for you. You can just go to the website of Living with Pixels and then go down over here. And here there are two options. So first, are you working with Elementor's new menu widget, what we're doing right now, or are you working in the original WordPress menu? We first have to give this button an idea, because you basically connect this button to this little code. So this little code says that the sign up link should not display, but it should only display when the website is bigger than 767 pixels. And what is that size? Well, that is the size we see on mobile. That's where mobile starts. So that's how it works. It just doesn't display and it only shows on mobile. That's what this little code says. But that requires you to add this little code to the button, because that links the button to this little code. That's how it works. So sign up, we need to put that in here. So just call this one sign up. It's already a sign up button, so it works. If you want to use another name, that's also fine. But if you change it over here, then also make sure to change it over here and over here. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay, so now we're gonna finally copy the code, and then we're gonna let's just do a quick save just to make sure. And now we need to add that code to the whole website. So now we're gonna go to the site settings. And then I want to go to custom CSS, which is also an Elementor Pro feature, and then paste it. And look at the menu once I paste it. See, on desktop, now it's gone because it says don't display it on desktop. But once we go to mobile mode, then it should display. Okay, in the site settings, I cannot test it for some reason. So let's just click save the changes and let's preview the page to see if it works. Okay, right now we don't see the sign up button, but we're gonna make this little window smaller. And then on tablet, it should also not display because we still see the button. But once we go smaller to mobile, now it should appear. And that didn't work. Okay, something went wrong. Let's go back to the page and see what we did wrong. Let's just publish the page and then preview it. Let's see if it works right now. We're gonna go to mobile again. Oh yes, now it works. Okay, so sometimes in the preview mode it doesn't work. I just want to show you all of my mistakes and issues so that you also can hopefully learn something from it. I also still make so many mistakes, guys. Okay, so now it works. It's great. Isn't this cool? I think it is. So now we're almost done because this template is still part of our homepage, which is not good. You should put it in a header template. So that's what we're going to do in the last step, connecting it to the header template. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go to the theme builder over here. Elementor made it easy for us with the new layout because there is a shortcut over here. If you use Command or Control, then it doesn't open in a new tab. Okay. I hope it did. It didn't. They should do that. I think so. We need a header template because this feature allows you to save it on the whole website. We don't need any of these templates because we made our own header. Oh, now I close my page. That's why I always like to work in different tabs, because now I have to go back and find it again. Okay, but I will show you another trick. If you press Command E and then go type in something, then you can, for example, search for a page and then Command click and then open it again. So that's a trick to make your workflow a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to copy it and then go back to my header template and just basically paste it in here. That's it. The settings are already there. It's 100 height. It already pulls up the content. So let's just publish this. Then it's going to ask us where we want to display it. You can do it on a specific page or on the entire website. For most websites, it's going to be the entire website. So right now we saved the menu in here, but we also saved it in our page. So now we can safely delete it from our page. Then let's click on publish. And then when we preview the page, the menu should still be here. And it's not. Okay, I found the mistake. This page setting was not good. You should tell Elementor that you want to display headers and footers on this page by going to the actual page, then going over here and then putting it on full width. You can also do that for the whole site. That's a lot easier. So then you can go to the site settings, to layout, then scroll down, and then go to Elementor full width. Oh, here you can see my mistake. It was still on Elementor canvas because of that last tutorial. So normally always leave it on Elementor full width, because what website doesn't have a header and a footer, okay? So now if we go back, then the menu should display. Let's test it out by previewing. And then, yes, finally it is here. Now it works perfectly fine, and it still shows the sign up link. So now I showed you how to do it with the new menu widget, but what about the original WordPress menu widget, which is installed on most websites? I will show you how to do that, but first I want to give a little shout out to myself, because I do have a course about Elementor Pro for the people that don't know, that will show you how to work with Elementor Pro, but specifically more efficiently. Because as you can see, Elementor Pro can be quite hard. Already a header takes up so much time to build. So I made a course explaining people how to work in the most efficient way, so you can save time, you can finish more projects each month. I think I have a pretty efficient workflow right now, and that's what I'm teaching in this course. Already 1,000 people went through it. If you want to check it out, you can go to this page, and there will be a discount code in the description as well. Okay, so let's now do it with the original WordPress menu widget, which is installed on most Elementor websites. But for this menu, you need to create the menu via the WordPress menu screen. So let's just do that right now. I'm going to comment click on this link, and then it will open this in a new tab. Let's just call it main menu, create the menu, and then add a few pages in there. Home, sample, and I'm going to use some extra custom links, for example, lessons, but also, of course, our sign up link, which doesn't have to link to anything for now. Oh, I forgot to give it a name. So you have a URL and you have a name, a label. So make sure they always have labels. Okay, make sure to save the menu, and then you can go back to your template. It doesn't show it because you need to reload. So what I advise is save the draft, then reload the page, and then it should be visible. Oh, it automatically loads in because it's the only menu we have. Okay, so here we can see the menu right now. This is the WordPress menu, and this is the old one. I'm just going to turn this one off for now with the eye, so we can just focus on the new WordPress menu. Let's first make sure it's a little bit wider by growing it, and then going to content and making sure the alignment is on the right. Okay, so all we want to do right now is I just want to delete the sign up button. The whole styling of this widget, that has been explained on YouTube a million times. If you guys want me to make more header menu videos, then let me know. But we have covered the styling already in this tutorial. So I'm just going to show you how to hide this on desktop. So what you need to do is that you need to go back to your WordPress menu. You can do that by going back to the menu overview over here, and then making sure that this one also has a CSS ID. But there is no field in here. You need to turn it on, actually. Go to screen options and then turn on CSS classes. And now we have an extra field over here, which is similar to this field over here. You see CSS ID? It's the same over here, CSS class. So what do we need? We're going back to the resources page, and now we need this little code over here. I just called it sign up to. You can call it anything you want, but again, the name you use here should also be used over here. So call it sign up to, because if you call it sign up one, you can get an error because I already used that name in another place on this website. So I just call it sign up to. Okay, make sure to save the changes over here, and then we need to add that code. So make sure to copy it again, and then we're gonna add that code to the website by going to the site settings again, and then going to additional CSS, and then I'm gonna paste it in here. So for most websites, you either need this code if you're using the new menu, and you need this code if you're using the old menu. I hope that makes sense, and it's basically showing the same. It just works a little bit different because those are different widgets. So now if we click save the changes And we go to our header template. Which one is it? Oh, we're still in there. So let's empty the site settings and also publish this menu. But now you can already see the sign up is gone over here, which is great. Let's now go to mobile and see if it pops up. And yes, there it is. And the sign up button is still hidden. I mean, this doesn't look that good because we haven't styled this menu, but you can see it works. It's exactly the same. You now just need to apply some styling to the old menu widget in order to make this work. So yeah, I know this was a little bit confusing. This was not the most easy tutorial, but this is a lot better for your website than adding 2 menu widgets and then hide it on mobile, hide it on desktop and make a whole mess. This is the cleanest way to do it, but you do need to use this little code or this little code depending on the widget you use. I hope you learned something, and again, if you want to learn more, then you can check out my course. I'm very proud of it. But for now, I just want to thank you for watching and let me know what kind of videos you would like to see on my channel, and then hopefully I will see you in the next video.